Italy, which entered the war in June 1940, was opposed to Great Britain. It was time that strategic bombing, advocated by a part of the Regia Aeronautica, found its application against a leading adversary such as the British Empire. It was in this way that the undertaking on the refineries of Bahrein, a British protectorate, was conceived, a flight of more than 4,000 kilometers. It envisaged the departure from the island of Rhodes, in the group of islands of the Italian Dodecanese, arriving at the bombing of the refineries in what we now call the United Arab Emirates and continuing until the landing in the bases of Italian East Africa. Nothing like this had ever been attempted, especially having to fly immense desert or desolate expanses, without reference points for over 4,000 kilometers. But actions of this kind were needed. These were applications of strategic bombing. They were intended to make these important British targets unsafe, forcing the British to divert important forces to them for their defense. Forces that would have been taken away from the African chessboard, where the Italian armed forces were engaged in massive attacks against the British troops, in Egypt, in Somalia, in Sudan. But above all, supplies to British vehicles in North Africa would have slowed down, paralyzing their movements. Italy had at its disposal an aircraft which, at least in the first year of the war, could be used for distant objectives, provided they were not heavily defended by modern aircraft. It was the Savoia Marchetti 82, an aircraft with considerable autonomy which, suitably prepared, would have allowed this mission. The aircraft was a three-engine monoplane designed by the engineer Alessandro Marchetti, an aircraft with excellent aeronautical qualities, very robust, maneuverable despite its size. It was powered by the excellent Alfa Romeo 128 double-star radials, highly reliable engines. An engine I covered in a book some years ago. If you want to buy it, I'll insert the link in the description. The Savoia Marchetti 82 was used by the Regia Aeronautica both as a bomber and as a transport aircraft. In command of the mission, Lieutenant Colonel Ettore Muti, who had already distinguished himself in the field of bombing aviation both in the Ethiopian War and in the Spanish Civil War, had excellent crews with him, made up of aviators with excellent training and extensive experience. Colonel Torre of the Directorate of Studies and Experiences of Guidonia studied the operation. Each aircraft would have embarked 3,000 liters more fuel than the maximum quantity. General Bernasconi gave the authorization. The overall flight lasted more than 15 hours, from takeoff from Rhodes to arrival on the Italian base of Zula, in Eritrea. The attack was a complete success, with considerable damage to depots and refinery installations. The British were completely surprised. For a long time they did not believe such a feat was possible given the enormous distances. A remarkable confirmation of the importance of the theories of the Italian Due, teaching that the Allies did not fail to learn and apply in the following years of the Second World War, nullifying the productive capacities and unfortunately also the Axis cities. It should be noted that if this attack had been carried out with a large number of bombers, it would have wiped out the production capacities of these important facilities for the British war effort. The Italian aircraft had no technical problems due to the goodness of the Savoia Marchetti aircraft and the excellent training of the Regia Aeronautica. Already refined in previous years, with the exceptional flights of the Italian squadrons which demonstrated how squadrons of bomber aircraft could even reach the United States. The aircraft arrived at Zula, an Italian airbase in Eritrea. greeted by the aviator Duke Amadeo d'Aosta, governor of Italian East Africa, which included Eritrea, Ethiopia and Somalia.